Good evening, everyone. I'm Janet Jefferson, the host of the podcast Third Floor Views from Chesapeake Family Life, and welcome to STEAM Fair in a Box. As you know, we couldn't have a STEAM Fair in person this year, so we decided to put it in a box and online. Monday through Wednesday, we'll interview a professional in STEAM careers, and on Thursday night, we'll talk about the Anne Arundel County magnet programs. After each interview, there'll be a live demonstration of a fun activity for kids to do, followed by more experiments for you to do using the materials in your box and from around the house. All interviews and activities will be recorded and available on chesapeakefamily.com/STEAM, so you can go back and do or listen as many times as you want. And don't forget that we are having a contest, and you could win a 3-night stay at the Boardwalk Plaza Hotel in Rehoboth Beach. Snap a photo of every completed project you've done from STEAM Fair and then post it on Chesapeake Family's Facebook and Instagram page. Use the hashtag CFL STEAM Fair or hashtag STEAM Fair 2020. I also want to say a quick thank you to our STEAM Fair in a Box sponsors, St. Anne's School of Annapolis, Severn School, Mathnasium, Chesapeake Arts Center, Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum, and Girl Scouts of Central Maryland. So our first interview tonight is with Trina Martin. Thank you, Trina, so much for coming tonight. She is an MBA and CEO of Trina Martin International, a tech company that consults with businesses to help them with their information of technology and digital transformation. So Trina, a big thank you for taking some time to chat with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
My first question is just tell us a little bit about what you do. What is your job?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am, as you said, I am the founder and I call myself the COO of Trina L. Martin Technology Consulting, which is part of Trina L. Martin International. And I specialize in secure communication technologies. I help my customers use secure communication technologies in their business so that they can communicate with their clients, customers, and employees securely while maintaining productivity and profitability. I work with those small and medium-sized businesses to help them elevate their business by using those secure communication technologies.
Well, that sounds really exciting. It sounds really important. Can you talk just a little bit about how you got there? So what was the path to your career?
Oh, wow. Well, for 2 decades, I worked as a computer programmer, programming and maintaining multi-million-dollar systems for major corporations. But before I got there and became the CEO and founder of my company, I grew up in Chicago. And I was the youngest of 4 children, and I had to decide what I wanted to do in my life because I wanted to go to college, which I was the first person in my family to go to college. So I realized back in the 1980s that technology was going to be the thing. It was the career to have, that everything was going to start going into technology, and that was the wave of the future. So I made up my mind and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to get into technology. And I decided, I think I want to be a programmer. So I ended up going to one of technical high school in Chicago. At the time, it was rated #1 for academics and technology and all of this, which was very exciting and different for me because I grew up coming from modest beginnings. I didn't have a computer in my home, unlike the kids today who have iPads and computers. I didn't have any of that. So going to this technical high school was really amazing to me because I actually got to put my hands on a computer, learn how to program, and I really started to find my love with technology. So from there, I decided to go to college and get a degree in computer science, which I did, and which led me to my 2-decade career in technology, over 2 decades.
Sounds like such an interesting way to get there, and really exciting, and a lot of work too. What is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job is just the technology itself. Technology, as we know, changes every day. So I have to learn the technologies and stay up to date to what's current and what my clients are going to need. I mean, even technology has come to a point now where the bad people are using technology. So I have to stay ahead of them as well. So it's interesting just to see how technology has changed from the time that I started to today. But it's very interesting when you find out and you can use technologies to do so many amazing things. And that's what I love most about my job.
Well, it sounds like you're constantly learning, and it sort of sounds like you're a little bit of a superhero because you're out there fighting bad guys.
Yeah, I'm a geek at heart and I love using technology. And you're constantly learning because, like I said, everything is changing daily. Today is one thing, tomorrow something new comes out. And to be in technology or STEM, you always have to keep abreast of what's coming out and stay ahead of the curve.
So that definitely sounds challenging. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you have in your job? Is it trying to keep on top of everything, or are there other things that are challenging as well?
I think it's the trying to keep on top of everything because, as you know, once you get comfortable with something and you learn something, something new comes out.
Hmm.
So that could be challenging as well as exciting because you've mastered something and then something new comes along, but then you find out that the new thing may be just a little bit better than the old thing, or it may not be. So you have to learn those things as well.
Definitely. Could you talk just a little bit about what skills that you need to be successful in what you do?
Oh, well, definitely the math and the sciences, but critical thinking and problem solving skills are very important for technology and the STEAM and the STEM industries. You have to know how to really think outside of the box because even though we have technology and it's such a great thing, you can use technology to do whatever you want, but it's just there's no limits. It's what your mind is capable of. So for me as a programmer, I could make systems do whatever I wanted them to do, but I just had to think about it and think about how would I go about doing that? How would I program that? How will I code that? So you have to have very good problem solving skills and critical thinking skills and put those things in part. But math and science are the things that you're going to learn in school, and those things are also very important.
Are there anything or any other particular classes that you would recommend or areas of study that you would recommend for students to get involved in if they're interested in having a job just like yours?
Definitely a computer science degree if you're heading to college. In high school, try to take all the computer classes that you can, engineering, forensics, because the technology field is so broad and you have so many things. You don't have to be just a computer programmer. You can go into digital forensics, which I've done as well. There's all different types of certifications that you can get. So just do your research and find out what it is that really piques your interest. But definitely a computer science degree, an engineering degree, and those math and sciences are very important.
Definitely. Can you tell us just a little bit about your military service and what was it like? And most importantly, how has it helped you in your job today?
Well, I am a former naval officer. I served 30 years. I have since retired. I've been around the world, which was amazing. I've been to places that I never even thought I would go to. Matter of fact, some of the places I didn't even know existed on the map. So it's been such a great career for me. I have met people and I have friends that I have met all over the world. But the most important thing that I learned from being in the military is one, leadership, because no matter what rank you are, the military grooms you to be a leader. So that's something that's very important, especially when you're going out into the work field and as you become an adult or whatever career you decide to pursue, you have to know how to be a leader and how to be out there and stand up and do what you believe, but also do your work without having someone to be there with you, to be accountable, have that integrity, and the discipline. And we all know the military is big on discipline. So those are the most important things I learned. So I've just had an amazing career.
So there's so many things that you do need to be successful today. It's not just the coding, even though that's really exciting. There's so many important leadership skills and knowing how to interact with people that really make a big difference and make you successful today. So it sounds like you need to be a well-rounded student in general. Would you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the academics are very important, but you also have to have social skills as well. Get out there, make friends, do community service. All those type of things make you a well-rounded person. So you don't want to just be the person who's just book smart, but you don't know how to interact with other people, because you're going to be working with other people. So you have to know how to talk with other people, communicate, how to work as a team, how to verbally express yourself, how to write. So all of those things make up that important part of your career that you're going to need. So all of those skills are very important.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Trina, for chatting us briefly about what you do and your path to get there and what it looked like. Any final piece of advice for our students out there?
I just want to let them know that technology is such a great field and it has so many opportunities. So just sit back, research, and take advantage of what's out there for you. Learn the different fields and different career paths, because there's so many. And I know there's something that you'll see that you'll like, but technology and STEAM and STEM, they are definitely the wave of the future, and you are the future.
Awesome. That's great advice. Well, thank you so much, Trina, for joining us tonight. And now we're going to move on to what we're doing next. So students out there, we know you're anxious, but don't open your box yet. We've got a fun presentation coming up for you next. And we're going to welcome Chrissy Ray from Pongos Learning Lab. And Pongos is a community center for all things science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So notice the STEAM, located in Crofton, Maryland, and they offer clubs, camps, classes, birthday parties, and enrichment programs for grades pre-K through 8. Younger kids can enjoy their indoor play center, and which is also known as Little Learners Lab, and adults can even get in on the fun too, with classes and special events created just for them. So hi, Chrissy, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I'm now just going to hand it over to you, and you get to show us some really fun, cool things.
Great, thank you. Let me just make sure I can share my screen real quick. All right, so as Janet said, my name is Chrissy Ray, and I'm with the Pongos Learning Lab. One of the clubs that we have at the Learning Lab is a coding class, Coder Kids Club, and we teach kids as young as kindergarten how to do programming, and we go up through about 8th grade for programming. We've had a few pre-K kids. For pre-K through about 1st or 2nd grade, we usually use a program called Scratch Junior, which you can download for free and install on an iOS or an Android device or a Kindle. It's really easy to use. You can make animations, simple animations and games with it. The program that I'm going to demonstrate tonight is called Scratch. And we usually start with Scratch with about 2nd grade. Depends on the kid, sometimes 1st grade. But you do need to be able to read reasonably well with Scratch, because there are some words in it, nothing too hard. But you can make really neat animations and games. And some kids may have done this in school before, but I'm going to give a little demonstration on how to create a simple animation in Scratch. So the first thing you would do is go to the Scratch website, which is scratch.mit.edu. This is a free program. It's a free website. And so once you get to scratch.mit.edu, you're going to click on Start Creating. And that's going to take us into the coding interface, which looks like this. And I'm going to close this tutorial down here because I'm going to be your tutorial. You don't need to use that. Move this out of the way. All right, so when you get into Scratch, you get a little cat over here on the right side. You've got this big open area in the middle, which is going to be where I'm going to put my code. And then on the left side, we have a bunch of blocks that we can use. And the really cool thing with Scratch, you don't actually have to really do much typing when you're coding with Scratch. It's mostly drag and drop, which is really easy because if you're not really good at writing, you're not really good at typing, you don't have to worry about that. With some of our more advanced programming classes that we do, so for kids in like 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, usually 5th grade and up, we do have them do some typing programming, which is a little bit harder. But if you're not really used to typing, don't worry about that for Scratch. So I've got this cat here. My cat's name is Scratch. I guess that's what his name is. And I'm going to program this cat to move a little bit. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to figure out when the cat is going to move. And in Scratch and in a lot of programming languages, you do that using something called an event. So if I look over here on the left side of my screen, I can see the word events. It's highlighted in yellow. So if I click on that, then I can see what events I have for when I can trigger code. So you can see one of them is this when green flag clicked. Now, if you look elsewhere on the screen, you might notice, and I'm going to move my mouse over to it, there's a little green flag right there. So that's the green flag that it's referring to. So if I take this when green flag clicked and I drag it over here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see my code. There we go. So you can see that code a little bit better on the screen. So now when I click on the green flag, watch this. Nothing happens. That's because I've said when the code is going to run or what's going to happen when I click on the green flag, but I haven't actually programmed anything to happen when I click on the green flag. So I can click on this green flag and nothing happens to my cat. So the next thing I have to do is decide what's going to actually happen to the cat when I click on that green flag. And for me, I want to make the cat move across the stage, move across this area over here. So I'm going to go to motion, which is where we're going to move things. And there's a command there that says move 10 steps. So I'll drag that, and you can see when I move it over towards this when green flag clicked, if I move it a little bit closer, I get a little shadow there. When I let go, it snaps it right up against that when green flag clicked. Now watch what happens when I click on the green flag. You can see it moves 10 steps. Pretty easy, right? I have to keep clicking on that green flag, and eventually the cat's going to run off the side of the stage. Now, if I want to make it go backwards, this is where a little bit of typing comes into play. I can change this to move minus 10 steps. All right, now watch what happens when I click on the green flag, and my cat moves backwards. Pretty neat. All right, so that's pretty basic. What if I want to animate this so that the cat moves automatically? That's pretty easy to do. I'm gonna change this back to 10. Move 10 steps. And I want to make it so that when, instead of having to actually click that green button over and over and over again, I'm going to have it automatically move the cat across the stage for me. So the way that I do that is with something called a loop. And a loop is a special command in Scratch, in Java, and all kinds of other different programming languages that allows you to run code multiple times. So we find those in the Scratch interface under control. So if I click on control, you can see here that I've got this command here that says repeat 10 times, and then another one that says forever. So I'm going to use the forever loop. And I'm just going to drag this over here, and you can see I can pop it there, but I don't want to pop it right there. I want to put it around that move 10 steps. So I moved it around the move 10 steps. So now it says when green flag clicked, I'm going to do something forever. I'm going to move 10 steps forever. So watch what happens. When I just click once on the green flag this time, my cat moves across the stage. It still moves off the side of the stage, which isn't exactly what I want, but I'm going to fix that in just a minute. All right, so it's actually still moving. It would still be moving. So if I drag this cat back over, you can see that it automatically moves back off to the right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that when the cat gets to the right side of the stage, when it touches the edge, it's going to bounce backwards. And it's going to keep going back and forth forever. So as long as it touches one side of the stage, it's going to go backwards into the other direction. And then when it touches the left side of the stage, it's going to go back and go towards the right side of the stage. So we go back to motion. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit in motion. And you'll see that there's a command here that says if on edge bounce. So this is sort of like an if statement. So we're asking to say, is it on the edge? And if this is true, if it's on the edge, then it's going to bounce in the opposite direction. So if I just drag this in here inside of the forever loop, watch what happens. So it's just going to bounce back and forth. back and forth and back and forth. All right, let me stop this. There we go. Now I want to make this look a little bit more interesting. So first it's moving back and forth. It's just going back and forth in a straight line. But I want to change it so that it's going to bounce all over the place. So the next thing I'm going to do is before I move 10 steps, before this forever loop, I'm going to change the rotation, the direction that my cat is facing. So you can see here, I've got this command turn, and this is right 15 degrees. So I'm going to drag that right there. I'm going to put it before the forever loop. And now watch what happens. Let me change this back to 90. That's the default. All right, now watch this. Now it's bouncing all over the place. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So that was pretty easy. Now, if I wanted to change it so that instead of a cat, it was a dinosaur or a hippo or a bat or something like that, it's relatively easy to do. So right now, I've just been working with the default Scratch cat and the background, which is a white background on my stage. So to change the graphic, which is currently the cat, I would just go to my sprite one here. I would just click on that. And I'm going to go to my costumes up here on the top. All right, so I can see here is my Scratch cat. I'm going to add a new costume. I'm going to choose a costume by clicking this button down in the bottom left corner. And I'm going to search for hippo. There's a hippo. And I'm actually going to add hippo B as well. There were two hippos. I'm going to add both of them. And the difference between them is one's got its wings open, one's got the wings up. So it looks like it can look like it's flying. All right, and then I'm going to delete the other two costumes. So now I have a hippo flying around. So if I click on my green flag, you can see now it's a hippo instead of a cat. Pretty easy. All right, so I'm going to click back on the code tab. And the next thing I'm going to do is make it so that as it's flying around, those wings are going to look like they're flapping. So to do that, you're going to go to looks over here on the left side. And I'm going to drag next costume into this loop. And now watch what happens. Looks like it's actually flying. All right, so I got my little hippo flying around. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is usually my favorite part. I'm going to make it so that the hippo is going to leave a trail behind as it flies around. So it's going to color in the stage behind it. All right, so let me stop that for a minute. All right, so I need to, excuse me. I need to add my pen. Sorry, I forgot to show you all how to do that. Down in the very bottom left corner, there's a button that's got like a little, looks like some Scratch code and a plus. I'm going to click on that to add an extension, and I'm going to add the pen extension. So let me add the pen extension. All right, so I'm going to, when I first click on the green flag, I'm going to set the pen color to, I'm going to make it red. There we go. So I'll make it like a nice bright red there. And then I'm going to put the pen down. So right now it's like I've got a pen here. And right now my pen is just kind of hovering. I've got it set to blue. Actually, let me get a red pen. So I've got my pen here, it's red. And it's just kind of hovering, it's just waiting. In order to actually draw, I need to put the pen down. So that's what I do next. I'm gonna use pen down. So I've got my pen color is set to red, my pen is down, and watch what this does. That's just gonna draw a line. There we go, that's not too exciting. It just draws a red line. I'm going to set the pen size. Oops. To 10. And let's see what that looks like. Makes it a little bit thicker. All right. And then this is where the magic happens. I'm going to change the pen color inside of the loop, I'm going to change the pen color by 10. Now watch what this does. That gives me a nice rainbow effect. There we go. Now I wanted to fill it in a little bit faster, so I can change the size of the pen. So I'm going to make it 20. And then let's see. There we go. So I've got a flying hippo that is painting a rainbow trail. Last thing I'm going to do with this hippo, because I want to clear off the rest of the pen that was left behind. So I'm going to, before I do anything at all, and you can see I can position the code where I want it to happen. So the order of the code is important. You want it to erase all here. So right after the when green flag is clicked, I'm going to erase all. If I had erase all inside of the loop, watch what would happen. So it's actually drawing. It's just that right here, I'm using this erase all, and it's erasing everything before you ever actually get to see it. So if I delete that erase all, and you can delete code by just dragging it back over into the library. And now when I play it, you can see there is my rainbow. Pretty exciting. So there's a lot of other stuff that you can do in Scratch. You can, as I said, you can make games. The big thing is that you need to use these events to do things like when you click on a mouse button, or when you click on an arrow or a keyboard key on your keyboard. So there's lots of different things that you can do with it. I've seen kids make things like platformer games, first-person games, all kinds of games. So pick it up, scratch.mit.edu. It's really easy to get started. There are tutorials. So if you click on tutorials, there's a lot of tutorials here. You can see there's a whole bunch of different things like animating an adventure game, creating animations that talk. There's a dice pong game tutorial. That's one that we usually do with kids when we first have them take the class at Coder Kids Club. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So don't be afraid to try it out. When I started as a programmer, I actually have a degree in zoology, which is why I really like working with these animals in Scratch. But when I first started programming, I was very new to it, didn't have any background in it, but I really like to play around with it. So especially when you're using something like Scratch, I do really encourage you to just try it out, play around with it, and see what you can come up with. So that's all I have for today. So Janet, I'm going to go back to you. Oh, let me stop sharing my screen.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Chrissy. That was really great. I also love hearing that your background's in zoology, and now you're showing us how to code, and that was just really, really cool. It just shows how dynamic scientists are. Mm-hmm. So now's the moment, friends, where it is time to open your box. So inside, when you open your box, you'll find the supplies that are necessary for 11 different experiments, as well as an activity guide from NASA and other materials from area groups with STEAM programs you might be interested in. You can go to ChesapeakeFamily.com STEAM each night, and you will find videos to walk you through all of the activities. There are different speakers and activities every night. They are all recorded so that you can do them whenever you want and as many times as you want. The activities tonight include build a wind-powered sail car sponsored by St. Anne's School of Annapolis, Scribblebots from Chesapeake Arts Center, make a harmonica, and create a simple tessellation. So have fun, and we hope that we'll see you again tomorrow night when we'll be speaking with Dr. Scholl, Assistant Professor of Pediatrics from Johns Hopkins Children's Center. And we're also going to play some cards and show you a few math tricks with Mathnasium and much, much more. And don't forget that we are having a contest, so just a quick reminder, and that you could win a 3-night stay at the Boardwalk Plaza Hotel in Rehoboth Beach. Snap a photo of every completed project you've done from the STEAM Fair and then post it on Chesapeake Family Facebook and Instagram page. Use the hashtag CFL STEAM Fair or hashtag STEAM Fair 2020. So now is time to go do some STEAM projects, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.